friends. It's me, Christiana Gaudet. I am live on my YouTube channel. No, you're not imagining this. I have moved my weekly Facebook Lives to YouTube. And so here we are. It's Thursday, and that means it is time for the Tarot Topics weekly newsletter recap. So nice to see people coming into the room. If you happen to be joining us in archive or watching the replay on Facebook or YouTube or my website, thank you so much for being here. And I welcome live people here as well. Or people here live, I assume everyone who's here is alive versus not alive, right? All right. So do you get the Tarot Topic weekly newsletter in your inbox? If you don't, you should. It comes out every Wednesday. All you have to do is go to my website, tarotbychristiana.com, and hit the button for newsletter and sign up. It's on MailChimp. And what I do is I tackle a different tarot topic every week. I share some of my thoughts about that topic. I share some tarot techniques or maybe a tarot spread. And I also give you information about the different things I have going on. Free classes and meetups here on YouTube, classes on Zoom. And this week, I just made the announcement I'm going to begin my tarot tours again. I will be going to Connecticut in May and at the end of July, and I will be going to Tampa in June. I will also, assuming everything goes well, I will be opening my office to in-person appointments in June. And that means we may start to meet again at Panera in Palm City, but don't worry, we'll still meet here as well. Claire, Karen, Laura, I'm so happy to see you here. Thanks for being here. So, what we talked about in this week's newsletter, and I hope you had a chance to read it, but if you didn't, the newsletter is always archived on my website. So if you hit the button for newsletter, you can sign up. You can also see all of the newsletters, and that's a lot of them since I do them once a week. There's a bunch there. So this week, the topic is connecting to heaven and earth. And that is a way of talking about how we can use the root chakra and the crown chakra to ground us with the root and connect us to heaven with the crown. And this is a technique that I use in tarot readings and psychic development. But I think that we can use this technique all the time. It's a meditative technique. And I think like we all know a lot of people who are very grounded, but don't spend a lot of time connected to spirit. And then we know a bunch of other people who are like totally connected with spirit, but they're not grounded. And this is a technique that allows you to stay grounded and connected to spirit at the same time. My argument is this is the best way to be. Now, if you are doing readings for yourself or others or doing anything that uses a lot of energy, this way, you're not really giving any energy of yourself. You're being a straw. You're connected to earth, you're connected to heaven, and you're drawing energy from earth and heaven to replenish yourself, and that's the energy you give to others. So even if you're working a very mundane job where you have to deal with people or perchance difficult people, this is something that you can do so that you can be present without having to give too much of yourself. So Laura says, I might have used this technique in a Sunday meditation. I use this technique all the time. If you follow me, you've heard me talk about this before, because you can't talk about this technique too much. Wendy, nice to see you. We've got both Claires here today, Claire C and Claire with an I. So happy to see you. So let me just share this technique with you really quickly. Then I'm going to talk to you about the tarot card that I chose to associate with this technique. And then I will take your questions. We'll do a couple of readings specific to how you work with energy or how you're working with your chakras. I'll be more clear about that in just a moment. So You can do this technique when you're preparing for a reading, when you're just preparing to do your day, when you have to deal with difficult people, wherever or however. I feel like this is something you want to do all the time. So do it with me now. Just start by turning your attention to your breath. We breathe all the time, right? I mean, we better be, right? But conscious breathing is the trick for all psychic work and for all magical work. So turn your attention to your breath. Breathe as deeply and slowly as you can. And then turn your focus to the root chakra at the very base of the spine. Breathe into that area. And then as you exhale, push your energy down through your legs, to your knees, your feet, into the floor, and finally into the earth. And feel your energy curl like roots, like tendrils into the earth. And be aware of what that feels like. What does the soil feel like? Then as you inhale, bring the energy up all the way back into the feet, into the legs, back into the root, and then all the way up to the crown. And gather your energy at the top of your head, breathing into this area. And then as you exhale, shoot your energy. That is a violet beam of light. Shoot it up into heaven. And at this point, you can invite in your angels, your ancestors, your deities, all of the energy that you work with. And so now as you breathe, you are literally connected to earth and connected to heaven. And you think about earth as sustaining you, giving you everything that you need in your physical being to be well, to be replenished, to be grounded. And then from heaven, you get all of the spiritual insight that you need, all of the clarity that you need. And so you have everything your body needs from earth and everything your spirit needs from heaven. And when you need to give to another, you have this source of energy that is limitless. And so you don't really need to give of yourself. You can draw on these sources of energy to give to others, whether in a mundane way, in a psychic way, in whatever way. So that's the technique. Let me know if you have any questions about that. Now, I do an article every week in my newsletter called Cards for Your Consideration. And that's where I may talk about a particular deck, a particular card, or a particular group of cards. And so my question for myself was, which tarot card, and I'll ask you this too, you may have a different answer. Which tarot card would you associate with this technique of being like a conduit, a straw of energy, drawing from earth and from heaven? I chose the Eight of Wands. And this is so interesting because you can't really see where it's coming from or where it's going to. But there is this sense of energy moving swiftly. And sometimes in a reading, when this card comes up, I actually think about it as just move the energy. Just move the energy and everything else will move with it. Peggy Lou, it's so nice to see you. Melissa, glad you're here. Lori, happy to see you. So what do you think about the Eight of Wands? You know, we know this is a card that can speak about swift motion. We know that this is a card that can speak about communication. Now, Claire says the magician. I could absolutely see the magician for this technique. Yes, yes, yes. Wendy says, I use this technique before I do readings, and it really feels like it opens everything up very well. Yes, it does. It absolutely does. And so any other cards that you would think of? Now, of course, and I write about this in the newsletter as well, I love to associate the aces with the chakras. The root chakra, of course, is the Ace of Pentacles. But which ace would you associate with the crown? I would almost say the ace of the major arcana, the magician, might be what you would associate with the crown. But which one would you? Oh, Betty, the high priestess. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Now, are you thinking for the crown or are you thinking for this technique? I could see either. Melissa says high priestess, grounded, but also connected to spirit. Sure. 100%. 100%. I love all of that. And when we think about tarot in this way, there are no right or wrong answers because it's really however you process it. And that's really the exercise, is to sort of open up and say, never thought about it that way. Or, oh, this really makes sense to me, right? Okay, so now let's do some readings. Do you have a question about your root chakra? Hey, Von Ray. Nice to see you, Lavon. I'm glad you're here. Do you have a question about your root chakra, your crown chakra, your chakra well-being in general, about how you work with energy, about your psychic development, about your ability to connect with your ancestors or to be grounded? Any of those kinds of questions? Go ahead and phrase a question somewhere in that arena, and I will be happy to do a reading on it. If you're watching the replay, of course, I will not be able to do a reading. But, this is an exercise in itself to think about the kinds of questions that you might ask. Like you could even ask, well, how's my root chakra? Am I feeling grounded? What's going on there? Here's a question from Karen. Karen is so good at coming up with these questions. I swear to goodness, I could have the most bizarre topic. Not that this topic is bizarre, but I feel like I could have the most bizarre topic and Karen she would find that question. Her question: what do my guides want me to know with respect to connecting in with them? Your guides want you to know that you can call on them for healing, Karen. That if you are feeling depressed, if you are feeling anxious, if you are feeling unsure, you can simply breathe, do this exercise, breathe, call them in with your crown and ask them for their healing light, for their healing insight, for their healing energy. You don't even need to be specific about how you need them for healing. Just let them heal you. Seriously, they are there and they are ready. Okay, Wendy, am I connecting as directly to spirit as I think I am? Okay, here's the thing. You're grounding. You are so good at being grounded. Your grounding aspect is wonderful. You are doing a good job connecting. You are. And yet I feel like you're holding back a little bit. I feel like you could just blow that wide open. And there it would be. So you could do even more. So yes, Wendy, yes, you are. And then you can do some. Melissa, which chakra needs the most attention care from me at the current moment? Sacral. That would be the second for women. It's the womb area, having to do with your connection to family. And you cannot necessarily heal the chakra by connecting to the family. You have to heal the chakra itself, because don't we all have family issues? I mean, every one of us, right? Okay, Claire, I feel the golden ball meditation empowers my hands. Yeah, I love that. I feel this energy is strong. Can I use it for healing in tarot? I think you can. I think you can raise the energy here and even cover yourself with it. You can raise the energy here and throw it out. I mean, play with it. Play with how you do that. And, it's very helpful with shuffling, obviously. All right. Any other questions today? It's sort of fun to think about the questions that we might formulate, and you can play with not only this meditation, but play with this concept with the cards. I mentioned that I like to connect the aces with the chakras. So the Ace of Pentacles for the root, the Ace of Cups for sacral and heart, the Ace of Wands for solar plexus, the Ace of Swords for throat and brow. Maybe I'd go with Ace of Wands for crown too. That's a possibility as well. Okay, Claire, how can I help my throat chakra? Sometimes I get stuck for words. So you know what I love to do? I'll do a reading on this, but I just want to share this with you. Take the Ace of Swords, hold it to your throat, and breathe with the Ace of Swords. That can be so helpful. I swear to goodness. But what else can you do? Let me do a reading on this. Well, the thing is, you get stuck for words because you got so much going on in your head. And you think faster than you speak. We all do. So breathe. Again, it's a sword thing. It's an air thing. It's a breath thing. Breathe to try to slow it down so the words can come out, so you can slow your thinking down. That's really what happens. Betty, which of my chakras do I need to focus and work on the most at this moment? Let's take a look and see. I think it's all about the solar plexus for you. I think you really need to know your own will and be willing to claim your own will and work with your own will and allow that to move you forward. I almost feel like over the course of your life, you have been so good at considering what other people want, but you have not always been good at considering what you want. And I feel like that can be an issue. So there's that. All right. Any other questions here today? I do want to remind you that I'm doing all the lives that I used to do on Facebook. I'm now doing here on YouTube, and they are scheduled at particular times. You can go to the community tab and you can see, what the schedule is. For example, I will be here tomorrow at noon with the Friday weekly wrap up. Peggy Lou, what chakra do I need to work on the most? Peggy Lou, I'm going to say the root, having to do with your own healing of body, mind, and spirit, working on connecting with Earth and bringing healing energy from Earth. That'll help your bank account too. Von Ray, what chakra do I need to pay more attention to? Let's take a look. I'm going to say it's a tie between the root and solar plexus. And that's going to be about your career together. You put those two things together, it's about your career. It's about your salary, and it's about moving you forward and motivation toward the thing you really want to be doing. All right. I do want to remind you as well, I believe, let me just check my calendar, but I believe we have a meetup coming up this Sunday as well. Let me just check and make sure I'm not lying to y'all. Yeah, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, right here, we'll have our Cards and Conversation Tarot meetup. So you're going to join me here tomorrow at noon for the Friday weekly wrap-up, Saturday at 12:30 for your Saturday Psychic Sampler, and then we're back here Sunday, 4 p.m. for the Cards and Conversation Tarot meetup. So I'd love to see you at all those places. I want to remind you, too, I have a Zoom class that will be March 25th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It is called Clarity in Every Tarot Card, and it's how we use keywords, context, and intuition together to get the best tarot readings. Go to my website, tarotbychristiana.com, hit events. You get all the information you need to sign up for that. And remember, I am going to be traveling to the Northeast in May, and at the end of July. I'll be there in August as well. I'll be in the Tampa area in June. I will be reopening my office to people in person in June. And of course, I am always available from wherever you are for readings by phone, Skype, FaceTime, Messenger, or Zoom. Feel free to reach out. You can schedule directly on my website. That's tarotbychristiana.com, and just hit the button to schedule. I thank you all so much for being here. I'll see you back here tomorrow. To everyone watching in archive, I appreciate you as well. Thank you all. Have a great day.